Hey again! In this lesson, we'll be designing our final Venetian costumes illustration. I opened up a new canvas and I colored in dark gray the background. I also brought here the colored concepts we made so that we can use them as a reference. Once you have everything ready, create a new layer where we are going to draw the final design. First of all, draw the basic anatomic structure of the character. I'll use a simple but elegant and attractive pose. Guys, the main reason why we want our pose to be simple is because we want the costume to stand out, not the pose. In addition, this course isn't about developing a character, but a costume. Therefore, the pose should contribute to emphasize the costume and not the other way around. I haven't used any reference for this pose. I've just drawn it paying attention to the main axis and body parts. But if you prefer, you can use a reference pose that you find elegant and that you want for your character. After drawing the pose, there's no need to make a complex anatomic structure. Let's start sketching the costume. Let's begin with the hat. As you can see, I chose the second sketch hat because it's the one I like the most. As you can also appreciate, the pose I drew resembles to a man. However, I added typical women's costume elements. Why? Well, because male and female features can be perfectly mixed. Now I'm going to select the elements I like the most from the sketches and apply them to the final illustration. For example, I took the suit from the fourth sketch, the hat from the second, and the decoration of the chest and shoulders from others. I've also added the cane that I took from the last design because I think it adds a unique touch and complements the costume, I think. These are normally loose-fitting costumes and bigger than the anatomic structure. They aren't tight pieces of clothing. There may be tighter parts, but not as a general rule. Most items are quite loose. I'm emphasizing this feature because I want you to bear this in mind when drawing the costume. Make sure you add volume, particularly in parts such as the legs or the arms, to prevent clothes from being attached to the skin. Okay, so it's very important you pay attention to it, okay? Because clothes are quite baggy, quite big. Well, when your sketch is ready, more or less, reduce the layer's opacity and create a new one that we'll use to give detail to the sketch, as we made previously. In this case, however, we need to be more precise and mind the details, because it is the final drawing. Guys, be careful and patient during the process. Make sure you include all the elements, since this will be the final drawing that you are going to show to the rest of the world. Take all the time you need to draw small details, because they are very important. As you can see, there are tiny details such as the mask's decorations or the jewels of the hat, so you'll need to spend more time drawing these elements to make them perfect. When creating textures, for example in the feathers, which is what we are making now, fabrics or any other sort of decoration, what we are going to make in a moment. Drawing lines is an excellent tip to create textures. Thick and coarse fabrics aren't the same as lightweight fabrics with more folds, and these characteristics must be reflected on the drawing by using lines. So if you don't know how to make them, you can have a look at the other artists' works or at real examples in order to understand fabric's behavior. For examples, for soft and lightweight fabrics, like feathers, draw loose and wavy lines. For hard fabrics, such as the hat, use straight and direct lines. It's also important to properly draw the dimensions and depth in order to clearly understand which elements overlap others at a first sight. You may think it isn't a big deal, but it is, because if we don't draw lines properly, elements won't be properly nor clearly arranged. It won't be appreciated where lines begin or end, and so on. Well, as we are still working on the final design, at this point it is still possible to modify the design by adding or changing certain elements. It depends on your case. You may need to add something or remove something, okay? So, introduce all the changes you want now. Add U-balls, cuffs, and other details you wish to add. Remember that you can modify or remove anything in this step, so add anything you may come up with, and then design your costume. After finishing your design, check the drawing in case there's something you want to modify. Bear in mind this is the last step, since the next one will be coloring it. So, make sure it's almost perfect, okay? Great. In the next lesson, we'll be coloring our design. We'll skip the inking process and we are going to directly jump into the coloring step. I hope that you liked this lesson and see you in the next video.